Om Shivaya Shiva Balayogindraya Parabrahmanaya Aneka Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Vidahine Atmajnanagnidhanena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Since so many lives that we would have acquired the karmas, the acquired habits of the mind would have acquired the attitudes by giving the fire called Atma's knowledge of the self. So you help us to clear all our karmas. So we prostrate to you at your lotus feet, Lord Sadguru. Thus the disciple prays to the master who is self-realized.
Yes, Pranam Babaji. Babaji, my question is, if, can a person striving for material success, can he do daily meditations?
Yeah, anybody can do daily meditation. To do meditation, mental determination, understanding the technique and follow the technique. While meditating, you have to just watch in between eyebrows. So, other than that, you can live any way of life, is no problem. Slowly, you will become more matured in the materialistic world and you will be able to take better decisions, better work, better focus, everything will be beneficial.
Okay, thank you, Babaji.
Pranam Babaji. Babaji, my question is how to get rid of negative thoughts and doubts that come in the mind. So basically, even when I am meditating, there are lots of negative thoughts and doubts that come and then mind gets sucked into them. This also happens in daily life. So how to get rid of that?
Yeah, because mind itself is always made up of both positive and negative dualities. If one comes, another definitely follows. But the idea of meditation is to totally get rid of all thoughts, all attitude, and purify the mind to regain its form of consciousness. That's only when it can go for self realization. And when you practice meditation like this and get rid of both positive and negative, then when you come out of the meditation, your mind would have become more matured and is able to find a positive attitude in everything that is happening. You will be able to, in the manipulative might appear as a negative word, but you can convert everything as a positive things. Whatever happens, it will be beneficial for you. So thus you can overcome the negative thoughts would be possible. Continue with the meditation. Just watch them even if negative thoughts comes. They are all getting evaporated. It will be all right. One day you will get rid everything.
We've had some questions recently about the same sort of thing that Sumrid was raising. And it's really how to deal with an anxious thought that keeps coming back into the mind. For example, when you're trying to do some meditation, for example, perhaps 10 or 15 minutes before you sit to meditate, you find you've lost your mobile phone or your keys. And so that when you try to sit for the meditation, there's this thought that keeps coming back. Now, one could just bring the mind back to the spot between the eyebrows, and every time the thought comes up, you flatten it, as it were, by bringing the attention back to the spot of the eyes. Or you just try to watch the thought. Now, watching the thought seems so difficult because the anxiety connected with the loss of the keys or the phone keeps sort of overriding one's concentration. So is it better to just block the thought by focusing the thought on the spot between the eyebrows.
Yeah. You have to watch the thought to block the thought itself. However, if the method is just to watch in between eyebrows is good for you, you can do that also. And also, you can take the help of a positive thought. Everything we can attend after the meditation, just now, not during meditation. Just like if you are having some meals, you need to concentrate on the meals. Peacefully, you need to have that meal. If you are anxious, if that anxiety is troubling you, then you won't be able to enjoy the meals and you won't be able to eat the meals properly at all. In the same way, meditation also. So, finally, if you are able to watch in between eyebrows and get rid of the thought, is also wonderful.
But if one is doing that, just watching between the eyebrows, isn't one stopping the other thoughts evaporating?
No, not necessarily. If you just do not analyze, it will automatically get evaporated. As long as you go on analyzing and making any judgments about the thought, then you hold on to the thoughts, they are there. So you give up that one, so they will all evaporate, including the one that is causing anxiety.
Namaste, Babaji. So happy to see you. The question I have is, we make resolutions, like early in the morning, we get up, we meditate, we do japa, puja, but there is a habit formation which comes sometimes in the way of translating some of our positive intentions into actions. How does one break free of these habits so that we will lead a life of harmony and dharma?
You need to have a determination when you have thought of doing a positive thing, so that must be set as a priority. First attend to that thought, then anything else can happen. Anything can wait. Like our master tried to teach, if you small things which might bother you, if you set right to do such things afterwards, after doing the positive like a puja or a meditation, that which is the priority, first you do this, then you can attend to that. So then you can overcome slowly and you will be more positive, and by habit you will be restless if you don't attend to the puja and meditation. So that must be the thing. Then you will be able to overcome any such problem of negativity.
Babaji, thank you so much for all your many blessings. I don't know what to do with them. But what about the silent thoughts, the thoughts that you can't hear, or you just kind of feel they're there in another place? I don't know. I just know they're there. I can't tell you what they are, but they're guiding me.
These thoughts are not separate from you, that you are thinking the thoughts are there, somewhere there. These are all the imagination of the mind. The mind says it is there, then things starts appearing as if it is there. That is what is known as the cause of illusion. So you just get rid with a positive thought. There are no thoughts anywhere. Just the self is there. Me and my God is there. Something more positive you think, then you will see that it will be all right. Thoughts will all disappear.
Thank you so much.
Pranams, Babaji. Babaji, could you explain the meaning of vairagya and also how to achieve that?
See, raga, dvesha, they are the vasanas of the mind that builds up, connecting you to the materialistic world always. Once you realize the entire universe, including our own physical body, is impermanent, then vairagya sets in. Vairagya doesn't mean that you go into a depression or you give up the world, nothing. You just continue with your way of life. Just be prepared with the understanding that everything is impermanent. It is there today, tomorrow it may not be there. So for that we are ready, that's it. But today we carry on with our duty, mentally being alert. That's what we advise for vairagya.
Thank you so much, Babaji.
I just want to say, Babaji, sometimes when I'm like not meditating, right? Like, and we're supposed to be like absorbed in like sort of our duties or like whatever, like our responsibilities and stuff. Like, sometimes I get so absorbed in my thoughts that I like don't hear anything, and then like I can't, like it's like I stop seeing, like, because I'm like so into the storyline in my head that like I don't, like my senses basically like stop kind of working. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's the mind. That is what the essence of illusion that is explained. Like when the mind thinks, a thought appears. Watching that thought, mind forgets that this thought is there because of my imagination. Instead, mind gets involved with the thought as if the thought is a fundamental reality. So then get carried away. Thought after thought, millions and millions of thoughts starts appearing. A big storyline happens. And after some time, if the story is tiring, then you change the story script again. The mind changes and starts thinking something else. So it keeps playing with that one. So thus giving happiness, unhappiness, stress and pleasure sometimes. So sometimes this. So you get involved into the dualities of positive, negativity, happiness, unhappiness. To get rid of this only, you just watch the thoughts and then get rid through the practice of meditation, so that once for all you enjoy the peace and happiness. Because you see, you derive the best happiness only when you are unconscious of this world. Like when you have a sound and good sleep, then you are very restful and enjoy that peace. Perhaps you won't even like to have $1 million if you are allowed to keep sleeping for more times. So that type of enjoyment. The same thing naturally you would be able to achieve when you practice meditation.
And can I just quickly say, thanks for that. But like when we're not meditating, like you know, in like Buddhism, they say like you shouldn't meditate, but you should also like practice mindfulness. Do you recommend like a similar thing?
Mindfulness means when you are working, doing a thing, do that thing at that moment instead of allowing the mind to jump into a future anxiousness or a past brooding unnecessarily. That's what the mindfulness means. Remain focused onto that present moment. That also is very good and helpful.
Babaji, about karma. Every day we get up with the positive mind, doing the right thing, and trying to be in the best of ourselves. And how in doing that we still will be accumulating karma, Babaji?
Yeah, it all depends on the ability of the mind. If you practice meditation with the right technique and a long time continuously, you do it as a way of life. Don't give up even for a single day as a priority. So that type of thing can be helpful. Slowly, the mind will decrease absorbing any doership of what you did and what the results came. All results are acceptable. As the mind gets into this attitude of simply accepting the results as they come, as the wishes of the divine, something like that, wishes of the master, something positively when you think, then it slowly decreases. One day it will stop acquiring any karma. Karma is the attitude or imprints that it acquires. So like that, only the practice of meditation can be helpful to get rid of acquiring karmas.
Babaji, does that even include when it comes to like emotions, like wanting to cry, that means being angry? Is that all accumulation of that practice as well, Babaji?
Yeah.
Babaji?
Yeah. So that is why these things, when go out of control, is called the 6 enemies of the human mind that I have explained so many times. Extreme anger, extreme greed, and extreme attachment to materialistic worlds, jealousy, false pride, all these things. So they make the mind to absorb imprints with such a thing, with a frustration or an anger or wanting to take a revenge, anything it can take shape. So these allow the mind to absorb imprint. Only the spiritual sadhana, long time practice of meditation helps you to get rid of this, not to absorb any such imprints. Let go. Mentally, it should not be playing all the time. Let go type means. Not that you don't have a right to defend yourself, you can defend. Defending is different. Going offensive with a revenge is different thing. You'll be waste of energy. Like sometimes Swamiji used to advise us, always answer through your karma in life. If anybody has criticized, anybody has troubled you, you just go on developing yourself. Go on achieving better results. You will leave others behind. Like in 1994, if somebody had criticized me, tried to trouble me, okay, I don't keep thinking about such things all the time. It's over. That has gone out of mind. 25 years have passed and we have developed and we have gone so far. We have come into 2021. Some have remained in 1994 only. So like that, you can get rid of these karmas.
Babaji, there are many a times that during meditation, we get different kind of thoughts and imaginations which we're not supposed to judge. But I end up finding propositions like some plans which I should go ahead in my life, kind of array of thoughts, and I can't help but think, and I plan to start implementing them. And that's not in meditation but post that. So is there a way that we should be like, I should stop that action and just ignore and let those thoughts burn away? They're not exactly thoughts, but they appear to be more like propositions and action plans.
During meditation, if you can avoid them, is better. Otherwise, the meditation can get disturbed. It is something like you are doing a higher university course. During the course, if you avoid any other planning and doing, is better. You can focus on the course and you can achieve better results. However, after the meditation, you will get better inspirations and better planning, better judgments. All these things will come. The moment you sit down and you want to plan, you want to make better judgments, you need to take a better decision. So all these things will come as inspiration very well, and you will feel very much peaceful. You won't feel troubled. So that is the better advice.
Pranam Babaji, thank you for being here with us. Babaji, I know that you have mentioned time and again that mind is consciousness and energy. I just wanted to ask you this question, whether do animals and plants also have consciousness and energy?
It is the same consciousness and energy that is stuck in the body of an animal, but because there is no such well-developed brain, just like the human bodies have, so they are unable to operate by thinking like a human mind. But in different levels, their consciousness might work like an instinct. Like most of the animals, generally, when they are hungry, they hunt for their food. Once they eat, they relax, they keep quiet. They don't keep wondering or thinking. They cannot think about the self, who am I, whether I exist even after the death of this body. So they cannot think such discriminative, such wise or wisdom applications. So that is how it happens. That is how generally it is recognized in spirituality that a human birth is a very rarest of rare gem. where a well-developed brain is available. Now your consciousness can get converted into a better mind by thinking, analyzing, making judgments or discriminations wherever necessary.
Thank you, Babaji.
Hello, Babaji. Often you say about in meditation, just watch. And I know we both at times experience a quieter state and a sense of having more space and less attachment to our thoughts. So where does that watching come from? Why is it so important?
When you are watching, first you begin with the help of eyeballs and then connect that mind. It is the mind which really watches and then starts thinking, analyzing, making judgments, thus gets involved. This mind is nothing but your conscious energy. You who is operating, you are the one who needs to watch yourself now. To do that, so you have been asked to watch with the help of eyeballs. When we ask you to watch, we don't ask you to watch any particular thing. Nothing is given, no anchor, no imagination, no form, nothing is given. Just if you watch in between eyebrows, eventually you will realize when the mind can become quiet, it would have started watching itself. That is how you become aware of yourself. That separation of you and the something that is watched, that comes to an end. You will realize you are simply aware of yourself. Thus the watching also ends. That's what the end results. That is when the mind becomes totally purified, regaining the form of pure consciousness, and then starts merging with the real self, the ultimate truth of the individual imagined self, that which had become mind temporarily.
Thank you.
Hello, Babaji. You talk about having imprints in the mind, and you normally talk about them in a negative way. You talk about greed and attraction and jealousy and such things. But I've been thinking about my personality traits, because I'm very motherly. I see a dog or a child or even a flower, and I want to look after it. But then that kind of kindness, when somebody's unkind, I can go into the absolute opposite of the duality and be really vicious. So I'm understanding the duality. And so in a way, what is my next step? I'm watching, I'm aware, and I'm meditating on it, but what do I do now?
You see, you need to achieve supreme peace and awareness of your real self. So on the way, if you want to be kind, if you want to be affectionate or attached, compassionate to something, is no problem. But during that, it is important that you don't get annoyed with anybody else. Because if you get annoyed, if you become vicious, then you lose. Your own consciousness you become disastrous to yourself, and you can become dangerous to others. Sometimes you can become prejudicial also. Unnecessarily you might consider somebody is not right, they are wrong, they are not kind enough, I must punish them. There is no need to do such things. They will reap the fruits of their own karmas. First you need to take care of yourself. That is important. Who are we to judge this world? There is an ultimate truth which has created the world, and it will take care of this world. So whatever is possible, like you are kind to others, you can appeal to people. You can try to create an awareness. Please be kind to others. Please be kind to all animals. It is essential. Like this you can go on appealing. Appealing is different. Becoming vicious and anger is totally different. If you become anger, you can try to harm somebody. Instead, you become like a teacher. You try to create this awareness to everyone. that you try to be kind to others, please. So that's what we also try to advise when we are teaching meditation. As human beings, let us live for each other. Let us love and honor each other. That's what we also teach. So that's what you have to be.
Thank you.
Nams Babaji. I have two questions. I will give you the first question, which is, can you give some advice on doing longer meditation, like what steps to take and how to prepare?
To do longer meditation, so you need to have understood the technique rightly and practice that. So for 1 hour, if you have achieved maximum amount of time that your mind remains quiet and just watching and not doing anything, then you would have derived lot of pleasure, happiness or peace would have more descended. So at that time you would like to continue. So then you see, if you are sitting, so you need to make your posture as comfortable as possible, either sitting on a chair, anywhere. So then after 1 hour, if you feel the legs or something is paining, you just try to keep the eyes closed and try to stretch out your hands and legs. Then you can continue for another half an hour. Like that, you can try to increase by taking care of the body also is important. You need to stretch out after 1 hour. If you are not used to, the legs might sleep, something might happen, numbness, all these things. So you stretch out a little bit, then continue again. Like that until your body is able to take for several hours. You need to practice every half an hour at least. You stretch out, then continue, stretch out and continue. Patience is much more important on all these things to do. Dedication and discipline, of course, they are the other friends.
Thank you, Babaji. And my second question is, doing this when people do longer meditation, how does it affect us? How does it change us?
So you do more and more meditation, it will take you more deeper towards your real self. And you are likely to lose interest in your day-to-day activities, and slowly you might like to become more and more practicing. Then you might become more addicted to get self-realized. So that's what would happen, like the things happen to us. I warn you about this.
Pranam Babaji. Could Baba explain a bit more about energy and consciousness? The energy and consciousness. So Babaji often talks about how the mind is a combination of energy and consciousness. Are these two qualities of the self, or I'm just trying to understand why there are two of these sort of properties, not just the one consciousness which has energy.
Yeah, that is the nearest imagination that we can derive for sake of understanding and communication. When we need to give a clue to the student to make them understand what it could be like the self. The self, if we consider it as a supreme consciousness and supreme energy. Supreme, why we would like to use the word here, that is the final, ultimate. There is nothing beyond that. However, it may not be conclusive. The ultimate truth is inexplicable. No word can explain. Any word we use, it is simply an imagination. But here, the combination of energy and consciousness, like the mind also. Mind is we consider it as individual imagined self. It is the mind which has given you yourself as a personality, like I am Zen, I am this and I am that, I am chairman, etc., etc. All the imaginations and all come, personalities, they are all imaginations. So this has come into your awareness because the mind is made up of consciousness and energy. Now consciousness means wherever you apply your consciousness, you become aware of that existence. Now further, if this consciousness is applied to any of the object of this universe, this world, it will get into an imagination by recognizing that object, then trying to analyze with its own criteria, and then making a judgment also. So like that, oh, this is apple. So then you would have analyzed what is it? It is a fruit. What fruit is it? It is apple. So you have made a judgment. So that will always appear as a fruit. In the place of the fruit, no more space will appear. So that is how, in other words, we try to tell, if I tell this is not just fruit, it is the divine, divinity that is all pervaded. It is the Parabrahman, it is God. Then others who are not aware, who don't have this knowledge, they will make fun of me. Oh, this old man is mad, he is talking only of God, God. It is apple. It will always appear as apple because your consciousness has made a judgment. This is it. So once you have decided, your mind becomes stubborn. It is apple. It won't accept any amount of advice. It will not accept. So that is what the consciousness affects. Now if this consciousness can go back to itself, its awareness or its focus, that is what the effort of meditation and spiritual exercises. Because when its attention is on the apple, it would have forgotten about itself. What am I? That is what the great sages have taught. Who am I? And what am I? How do I exist? All this gets forgotten. In this world, when we go on recognizing not simply one apple, that is simply an example that I am giving, how the consciousness becomes aware of that. So when the conscious becomes aware of it, the consciousness itself becomes an apple in its own imagination. That's how all imaginations of positivity, negativity comes. This is good man, this is bad man, this is a good fruit, this is bad fruit. Like that, all the things come. This is mine, this is not mine. So like that, all the 24 hours, now your consciousness gets converted into mind by making judgment after judgment, judgment after judgment, imagination after imagination, getting involved, and a big universe gets built up. Unending universe, unending galaxies, unending things. And it keeps wondering. Then it wants to have all the things for itself. So it becomes miserable like this. The results are not acceptable to it, and it becomes miserable. Now we need to take this conscious out of this attachment to the imagination, its own imagination, so that it can regain its pure form, which it had become as mind. Now mind has to become pure consciousness, then it becomes aware of itself. Then it forgets what is consciousness, what is energy. It goes beyond that also. Then it merges with the ultimate truth. That is what the self is. The self is inexplicable. It has to go beyond consciousness and energy. That is what the process, when you are able to bring your consciousness 100% here, so when it is totally purified, it gets detached from the brain's clutches, and the seeker feels as if one is here, as if you are here. That means, like the old sages have used the word of 1,000 petals lotus, Sahasrara Kamala is the word. That means there is no lotus is there, but now that consciousness is purified, mind is purified and has regained as consciousness. Means it is blossomed and purified, ready to go back to self, merge with the self. That consciousness, it won't recognize anything else. Slowly it won't feel the existence of the body or the universe. Then it goes into its own awareness. Then that is how it merges with itself. So this is the story of consciousness and energy. The presence of energy enables this. Now the mind, presence of energy in the mind enables the mind to spin and think and imagine and become creative. In that creativity, if it loses control over itself, then it forgets about itself. But it has to be made to remember itself so that it doesn't lose the peace. It gets involved with everything that it will imagine and it loses peace. So using the same energy, we have to meditate and make it come back and become purified and merge with the self. That is what is self-realization. Then it will all end. My God, I was traveling in the universe, life after life, incarnation after incarnation, imagining this and wanting that one, and getting trouble, no acceptance, hitting our head. Life cycles had passed. We had totally forgotten about ourselves. This is the self, totally secure, at peace. Nothing is needed. Nothing can trouble us anymore. Nothing.
Pranam Bhakti.
Thank you, Babaji. That was a very comprehensive answer to that. Thank you.
I thought you got carried away with the answer.
There's a lot in that answer, Babaji. Thank you. So the question for our chat is, how do we get rid of loneliness?
So when you miss something, then you feel that loneliness. Like you want a companion, you want to have a television, you want to have a gold, you want to have a house, something like that. When you miss anything of this world, then you start feeling that loneliness. As long as the imagination is there in the mind, it wants something. It cannot keep quiet. It wants something. It is searching for the same peace that it had enjoyed by remaining in the self, one with the self. Now it has lost that temporarily in imagination. So it is trying to look for that peace everywhere. It tries to make relationships, it tries to make friendliness, it tries to own objects, it tries to own the world, it tries to gain the power, this, that and what not. But nothing satisfied. The mind loses its peace always. The more amount of things that we want in the world, we go after the world, we lose peace, we lose peace, we lose peace, and the mind gets agitated. Then it starts feeling loneliness. Just for example, one thing, people always try to look for good human beings who can be very friendly, compassionate, understanding them. This is every individual's imagination. They may have their own way how a person has to be. Like for example, I will talk about myself. I will have an imagination, somebody who can understand me, who can always listen to my commands. Nobody should command me. That's what human imagination always. Who must be my friend? Friend means only friend to me. I be with him. These imaginations becomes ego for me. If I don't find such thing, I will start blaming the world. Oh, people are not good, people are selfish, they are not friendly with me, they are not listening to my commands, they want to do this thing. Then I lose happiness, I start feeling loneliness. Oh, I am 80 years, I am 90 years, I haven't been able to find a good human being at all. How much good you had been to others, man? I always ask such people. So this is some of the points of loneliness you can get rid when you find your real self. You are that all-pervaded divinity. You are one with the divinity, and you don't need anything else for your happiness. Then you don't feel the loneliness at all. Leave me alone in a room. As long as you want me, I'll always be happy. I am more happy and peaceful in myself.
Thank you, Babaji.
Babaji. Babaji, I just have a question about faith.
connected to acceptance. If you are able to accept everything and not make judgments, is that in a way the same as having perfect faith?
Yes, because we want good for us, something that is beneficial for us. If a certain thing that is not acceptable, that this is beneficial to us, then we lose peace and we lose that faith. Why did this thing happen to me? Why is that I am able to have when others might be having these things? Why did this? So acceptance is not there, and when acceptance is not there, we have to blame somebody. Who was the reason? Is it God? Why God made it like this to me? So why is this? My destiny has become like this. Then we lose peace. When we lose faith, we lose peace. Instead, if we try to think positively, like since childhood we used to think, we used to pray, we want to have this thing, we want this thing to happen, oh God, please help me. Always such things would not happen. There were many times things did not happen according to our imagination or as we prayed for, as we wanted. However, we did not lose peace, we did not blame anybody. Instead, we were thankful to God. I used to think, when I wanted this thing to happen in this way so much, in spite of that and my prayers, if this thing has not happened, something else has happened, maybe God has better things in His store for me. Whatever God has done this to me, if God has done at all, so then maybe this is for my benefit only. Maybe God will give me better wisdom and better knowledge to understand why this thing. So when we look back today, all the things that happened which appear to be like a failure or a troublesome or a negative thing or somebody doing wrong to us, they all were beneficial. They all have brought me to the truth of self, and today giving me supreme peace today that I don't need anything. Nobody can give me any trouble mentally, or nobody can give me any loneliness. So that is how one can achieve the truth in life, by overcoming the negativity, by cultivating that faith. This is what the faith. God is doing the right, has done the right, is going to do the right thing to me always. That is the faith. So wonderful. Thank you, Michael, for helping us to take the questions and answering depending on our tapas experiences and whatever our master taught.